Hello, hello, and welcome back to Alchemical Serenity, the pagan podcast that takes you on a personal journey of transformation in the most serene manner. We walk a path together, and I share my knowledge from 40 years of being on this path. And if you wish to leave comments, you can share how you walk your path in whatever manner. No two paths are alike, and there is no dogma here or religion, there's no ideology or fixed ways in walking your path, and everyone is welcome on whatever path you follow. If you are new, please consider subscribing to my channel. There's lots more to listen to whilst you are walking the dog, washing the dishes, or sneaking in a 10-minute break at lunchtime. And if you have already subscribed, then thank you so much for your support, and it's lovely to read and chat with you on many of the comments that you leave behind. So, we are continuing to look into animal spirit guides. And this week, as you have seen from the title, we are looking at the salmon. Again, I use the same oracle cards as I did for the last ones to see which energy wanted to work with us, and I was actually quite surprised when the salmon came up, as it's not one of the kind of big 4 to 5 that everyone expects. But as I delved deeper into salmon, it does have a great deal to teach us. Now, I don't want to overload this podcast with too much information. I always feel it's better if you feel you resonate with any of the animal guides that come to work with us through this podcast, that you spend time in your energy field, because as always, we are all on different paths, and what works for one person may not work for another. So with that in mind, let's dive into the beautiful crystal clear pool and take a swim with the salmon. I am basing this on the Atlantic salmon because obviously I'm in Britain. However, salmon does feature in both American and Canadian history, folklore and life, so possibly greater than ours on this little island. So our Atlantic salmon lives in the waters around Scotland and Norway, and they begin to travel upstreams to the breeding ground where they were born. The word salmon comes from the Latin salire or salia, depending on how it's pronounced, because I'm not quite sure, which means to leap. The first hard frosts usually trigger the spawning season between November and December in the Northern Hemisphere. However, the climate can force this into February some years. The salmon's journey to swim upstream and through some treacherous ground is not an easy one, but they persevere with great determination. The female then lays her eggs, and the male fertilises them and then wafts and wriggles his tail to bury them in the deep gravel beds. 90 to 95% of salmon die after the spawning, and those that do survive head back downstream and out to sea to hopefully make the trip again next year. The Atlantic salmon can return up to 13 times, but I think that's probably pretty rare. The eggs hatch in the spring, and the young fish spend a few years in the freshwater growing and probably being fished out by enthusiasts, and then they go through a bodily transformation which takes place, and that's called smoltification, which allows the salmon to be able to survive in salt water. Salmon were and still are very important to many traditions around the world. The fish returning year after year is symbolic of life, death and renewal, but also for some it was the final point in their tradition's year before the cold, harsh winters took hold. Salmon was important to the Celts on the British Isles and was a symbol of intelligence. One Irish folklore story goes something a bit like this, and it is that of the Well of Wisdom or Knowledge. In this story there is a well called Connor's Well in the other world, and growing alongside the well are hazels, known to be of great wisdom to the Celts and Druids. In the well lived a salmon, and one day it happened to eat 9 hazelnuts that fell into the well. It gained all the knowledge and wisdom of the world, and it was said that anyone who could catch and eat the salmon would gain all the knowledge for themselves. A poet named Finnegas tried for 7 years to catch the salmon, until finally he did. He gave it to his servant and asked him to cook it, but not to eat any of it, not even the smallest of bites. Now, whilst cooking, his servant, who was called Finn, checked to see if the salmon was cooked by touching it with his thumb. It was boiling, and to relieve the pain, he sucked his thumb. He received all the knowledge of the salmon. On serving the salmon to his master, Finnegas could see the wisdom in Finn's eyes, and he decided to allow him to eat all the salmon, knowing that Finn McCool would one day be able to draw on all that knowledge at any time and become a great leader in the future. In Welsh folklore, the Book of Taliesin has a similar story, whereby Gwion Bach receives all the knowledge from Ceridwen's cauldron, which was meant for her son. Gwion Bach is a servant. He's stirring her cauldron and again is told not to eat or drink of the brew. However, it spits and lands on his thumb and he licks it off. He receives all the knowledge and wisdom, But instead of being given whatever there is left of it, the cauldron explodes and Carolyn is furious and has decided she's going to kill him. And because of this, Guyanbach realises that he needs to get away, and he begins to shapeshift into animals, of which one he becomes a fish. I'm not going to go into that any further because it is a bit long-winded. It's not as sort of simple as the story of Finn McCool, but the salmon is still there, a big part of being the salmon of knowledge, or having the knowledge to be able to become a salmon. A Scottish tale tells how the Queen of Cadzow gave her lover the ring that had been given to her by her husband. Whilst out hunting, the king spotted the ring on the man's finger. He carefully removed it whilst the man was asleep, and he threw it into the River Clyde. On returning home, he demanded the ring from his wife. Of course, she couldn't produce it, and the king had her imprisoned, promising he would release her if she could produce it. In desperation, the queen asked for the help of St Kentigern, also known as St Mungo, who called upon one of his monks to catch a salmon in the river. The fish was found and slit open, and there was the ring. Kentigern is the patron saint of Glasgow, and a salmon appears in the city's coat of arms. In Native American stories, salmon are immortal people who live in villages deep in the ocean. In the spring, they wear a salmon disguise, offering themselves as food, and when eaten by the tribe, even the tiniest of fish bone and skeleton is thrown back into the sea, where it is believed to turn back into the humans who would rise again the following spring. Also in the Native American tradition, salmon-born people in the Native American animal zodiac are born between July 22nd and August the 22nd, and they are goal-orientated. They live by example and would never expect anyone to do something they would not do themselves. They live on the good side of life with financial security, but aren't greedy and will share their abundance. They are enthusiastic and inspire people and make good leaders. They seem older than their current age because they are curious and have gained lots of knowledge. So what about the salmon personality? If you are, or maybe you know someone who you think might be of that personality, they or you could be highly intelligent, advice can be relied on, but maybe are quiet and who never gives much information about themselves. Perhaps they or you appear to be a bit like a fish out of water, and they are someone who knows where they're going. Perhaps you are driven and you can see your goal ahead and you know exactly how you're going to get there. Salmon may also appear when we need to learn in giving up something or making a sacrifice that a new beginning will start, maybe a new you. However, you may need to prepare yourself for a challenge and the strength to persevere on your path, trusting yourself and your decision making. Life's journey is about finding meanings and purpose to stages of our life, and in trusting the unknown and trusting the meaning of death and rebirth. You may also be deeply emotional and perhaps need to look at yourself and your goals. Are you achieving what you need to? Are you still on track with your goals, or do you need to reevaluate them? Our paths and goals change frequently as we move through life, and we can easily lose track and find we're swimming somewhere but not knowing where we're going. Salmon can help you find the right path again and to give you the strength to swim towards that goal. Salmon is also about transformation and enlightenment. The salmon may have wise words for you or to help you on your journey, pointing you in the direction you need to go and giving you the determination to succeed. If salmon just appears in a dream or a meditation, then it may have come to warn you of a challenge ahead. Sometimes this is because it's going to take you some effort to work through, but it is achievable. It may also have come to warn you about the end of something. This could be a relationship or a friendship, and it may have come to warn you of a passing, not necessarily a death, but more of perhaps an end of a relationship. Perhaps a friend is moving away and you're not going to be in each other's energy field, but with that comes a new beginning. If you want to call upon the energy of salmon, then it is here to teach us the awareness of life's journey and finding meaning and purpose. Salmon's strength is perseverance and moving forward towards your goals or your destiny. And it's all about trusting the unknown and surrendering to life's mysteries. You can call upon salmon to help you if you are searching out those mysteries on your path and looking for transformation. Salmon will guide you to the right places to learn and gain that wisdom that you need at that time. Salmon's element is water, as we know, but water is also connected to our emotions and our unconsciousness, and it comes to help us gain insights into our own emotions, maybe something we need to learn about ourselves is on this level, and that's why salmon is here. So some correspondences for using salmon in any ritual work would be the direction is west, season is autumn, element is water, obviously, goddess and gods. Couldn't find too much on these, but you are connected very much here with the Irish hero Finn McCool, so he's a good one to look for. Gemstone, now there is a salmon stone, it's a feldspar, and I only found it, someone's selling it on Etsy. I suppose if you're really wanting a gemstone to work with, just use a normal clear quartz. Associations are plenty, death and rebirth, renewal, knowledge, bravery, cycles, determination, emotions, goal achieving, passion and transformation. Salmon is also about the continuity of the species, so each year the fish make their upstream, representing the cycle of life and death. But sadly, obviously many parent salmons die on this trek, but their children live on. Salmon could also mean sacrifice, resurrection and regeneration, and this leads us to education, knowledge and intelligence. If you are wanting to use an incense to work with salmon, just use anything that you're comfortable with, frankincense, myrrh, palo santo. If you have pets, obviously avoid using too much around them, and don't set your fire alarms off. Once you feel you have connected with either a spirit animal that is going to walk a path with you, or you are just perhaps meditating or working the energies of that animal to achieve a goal, then perhaps set up a small area as a sacred space or altar for that animal. Perhaps add a few pictures, focus on the animal for a while in that area. If you have a pond outside and you're working with any form of sort of pond life or fish, think of creating a little water feature and then perhaps consider something that would represent the salmon in this case. Some ritual affirmations for working with the energy of the salmon would be, I possess the strength to overcome any obstacle that comes my way. That would be a good one to say. Every challenge I face is an opportunity for growth and renewal. With each step I take, my determination grows stronger and I am empowered to achieve my goals. And in every decision I make, I trust my inner guidance, knowing it leads me to highest good. I welcome change and transformation, understanding that it is essential for growth and renewal, much like the salmon's journey. If you want to meditate with a salmon, during a meditation, you can ask it to take you on a journey through the sea to the river. Ask if it can be your eyes to show its path and how it gets to its final goal. Because you are in meditation, you are safe and secure and no harm can come to you. And having the ability to travel using the eyes of salmon, or any other spirit guide for that matter, is a useful tool. It may take some time to just practice and feel comfortable in doing it, but if you are working with your animal guide, then they will show you what you need to do. Don't ever brush past an animal feeling you have no connection with it. Sometimes the greater knowledge received comes from the path we wouldn't usually walk, so maybe try meditation with a salmon who may have some wisdom that you weren't expecting. And before I go, I just wanted to say the wild Atlantic salmon of the British Isles is in danger, and there is a team of people at atlanticsalmontrust.org who are trying to save it. Their website says wild Atlantic salmon are a keystone species in crisis, having declined by 70% in the last 25 years. The population in Great Britain is now endangered, and so the Salmon Trust is on a mission to save and restore our salmon, and I'll leave a little link to their website in the description box below if you would just like to read some more on that. So thank you for joining me today. If you want to use a meditation, I am going to be loading one up soon that's 30 minutes long. It's longer than the original one that I put up, which was about 15 minutes on my podcast for learning about animal spirit guides. I felt that it needed longer for you to connect with your spirit guide or particular animal. If you decide you want to use it, it'll be a fairly easy meditation to listen into, and it will take you to meet any spirit guide. It's not for one particular spirit guide, it's to open you up to allow a spirit guide to come up with you. I am working on that, I promise. I hope the bit of information I've given you today on the salmon has been interesting. And if you would like to join me on this magical journey into the deeper level of understanding your path, then just subscribe to my channel and join me on any social media that I've got listed in the description box below. I really do hope you've enjoyed our swim today and have perhaps gained some experience from it. If you have any experience on salmon, let me know about that as well. I will be back again very, very soon with another one. I wonder who will get this up. Actually, I know who we're getting this time, and I think you will find it very interesting. This is not one of the big 4 to 5 again. It's a very interesting, let's say, energy this time, and I'm hoping to have that with you next week. It may be a little bit longer, depends, because it's quite in depth, and I'm trying to succinct it down so it's not too overwhelming. So until next time, enjoy your swim with a salmon. Thank you for listening in, and bye for now.